This event was established in 1999 as a part of Carnegie Mellon's celebration of the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The contest itself is a part of the commitment of Carnegie Mellon University and my own Dietrich College to diversity both on campus and in the larger community. The contest asked students not to write historical essays about Dr. King. Rather, it asked students to tell some aspect of their own personal stories that deal with race or discrimination or difference.
So today we'll be hearing from both Carnegie Mellon students and Pittsburgh-area high school students, a student from Duquesne University, and we try to expand the range of this contest every year. The judging, as always, was particularly difficult, and I want to thank everyone. The event is about students and their words, and I don't really want to take up any other time, so we're going to begin.
Stranger, her skin an olive brown, with long wispy strands of black hair clinging to the back of her knitted sweater. Her brown eyes, fixed to the ground, avoid eye contact. They're all looking, whispering, wondering. Who is the new girl, with the mysterious eyes and dark long hair? She looks foreign. Where could she come from? I'm Indian. Her voice heavily accented. Eyebrows shoot up. Could she be like the people from history class? The ones who lived in America? She squirms in her seat, sweaty palms clinging together. Her head shakes no. That's Native American. Her whisper barely audible in the classroom. Another girl, superior, claims she understands. The new girl finally relaxes. Indians have red things on their foreheads, right? Her face, now red. I don't know what you mean, but she does. The bindis worn on special occasions, a type of jewelry, not a feature like black hair or a brown birthmark under a chin. They'd never understand her family going to the temple, bright festivals, shrines with flower offerings, singing and dancing. If only they knew the Bengali she spoke. They'd ask her to say a few words and then mimic them. She doesn't answer, letting her cheeks redden, 2 hot chili peppers. Dreaming of disappearing from the whispers and stares into the cool air with the trees that never seemed to care where she came from or the color of her hands.
Maggie cubes with my stepfather. Igbo words bouncing off tongues and over walls and downstairs. Music dancing through hallways and fried plantains sizzling on plates in kitchens next to beef and goat and fish eyes plucked from the head. My mother dreams of Africa. My mother dreams of her in-laws and their bodies screaming of culture and home. My mother dances in long dresses wrapped around her body, and each year she says she is going. But years pass, and my mother dances with empty rhythm. Years pass, and her in-laws die one by one, and my stepfather cries and tries to hide his tears because real men don't cry. And they pound fufu with wooden spoons, cook a goosey soup and gari and pepper soup that is much too spicy for me to eat. And they break kola nut in our living room and cook jollof rice on our stove, and I learned to make eggs with Maggi cubes and curry. And we eat indomie instead of ramen noodles because it's better somehow. And my cousin, she tries to teach me how to cook, and I hide in my attic and read, and I don't want to learn. And we serve chin-chin in silver pans, let the fried sugar run over our tongues, and it's too late to return now, because it's rainy season in Nigeria, and the living must bury the dead before caskets float. Thank you.
We are still fighting. 1. He had a dream, we had a dream, they had a dream, but we are all still dreaming. And we fight until our hands are red and raw and still. We only seek freedom when the time is right, when there is time at all. When the night air gets cold and my hands freeze beneath me and the city looks like an outline, I only want to beat my body against the pale ground and let it be known that I am still thinking. I am still wrapping my mind around the ideas of their dream, the dream that he pulled into their souls all those many years ago with a preacher's hand and a leader's heart, black over white, man over beast. However we put two words together, it is still a dream, and I still have his dream, their dream, our dream, too. I want to know. I want to know why I am still white and you are still black. What has changed in the years since our grandparents sat on the front steps with paper fans in their hands and another day on their laps? What has really moved? The world is at a standstill. Silent and easy, I try and break away because I do not want to be white and I do not want you to be black. I only want to be a person, undefined and untouched by boxes built for us as children. Before we could talk or stand or even breathe, I was white and you were black. 3. There is no way that I can tell you sorry. I'm sorry that my family is from another place. I'm sorry that I was born in the backwoods and the town where my father lives has the kind of people that are scared rather than smart. I can tell you I'm sorry that my father hates you. I can tell you I'm sorry my mother will never accept you. I'm sorry that our worlds aren't really as peaceful as we pretended in our own heads. But then if I say it, and you will have to too. Are you really sorry that your sister has to bite her tongue and hold her breath to keep from knocking me to the ground? She does, and you don't have to tell me. Are you sorry that your hand in mine isn't the right way to do things? From your mother's lips to your brother's hand, I already know that we are doomed. 2 directions stick to the lines that are drawn over and under. We always try and avoid it, but we can both say sorry and be sorry and try to make us another sorry excuse. Truth is, we cannot escape the world that has been laid down and painted in before we met. There is no way I can tell you how sorry I am.
Those known, present and past. These are the people I know. Born equal, raised different. Eat different, excrete the same. Live diversely, die similarly. These are the people I know. Born in Mexico, Catholic. Crossed the border to Texas. Married Iraqi, Muslim. 42 working on a GED. 42 working in people's houses. 42 and discriminated against by those 24 employers who claim to love God. These are the people I know. Born in Sri Lanka, poor. Moved to Lebanon. Labors in a household, poorly treated. Sri Lankan and working on providing for a family. Sri Lankan and working in a luxury apartment. Sri Lankan and spit upon by those who aren't Sri Lankan, but Lebanese, who claim to know hard labor. These are the people I know. Born in Canada, middle class. Moved to Texas, visited Lebanon. Living in Pittsburgh, financially assisted. Working on a bachelor's degree. Working to combat hate. Working to dissipate misconceptions. Working hard at something that should be a given. White, yellow, tan, brown, red. Black, blue, dead. Born, living, working, discriminated, saddened. These are the people I know, and these are the people MLK knew.
Star. Jenny, the Chinese girl, whose parents owned a restaurant, brought duck feet on a field trip and dared us each to eat one. Anna, the Filipino, cringed and shook her head. I, the American, said, "Gosh, that's disgusting." Teresa, the Italian, nearly threw up. Nellie, the Pole, squared her shoulders and choked it down. She actually liked it despite how awful it looked. And Maria, the Venezuelan, scoffed and rolled her eyes at us, like she always did. When our teacher came over and told us to quiet down, because the squealing was a bit much, his eyes trailed from one to the next, from one difference to another. First, to Jenny's smaller eyes, as she held another duck foot out to Nellie, and Anna's thicker hair, falling down to hide her embarrassed blush, and Teresa's olive skin, slowly turning red under his scrutinizing gaze, and Maria's angular face, uncaring, arrogant, and contemptuous as always, and Nellie and I, trying not to laugh. We knew each other, though. We didn't see our differences. To each other, we weren't Chinese or Filipino or American or Italian or Polish
or Venezuelan. And later, when we were sitting there on the school bus, arranging our fingers into a star so Jenny could take a picture, we didn't notice that Jenny's fingers were so pale, or that Anna's, Maria's, and Teresa's were darker, or that mine and Nellie's were red from being in the sun.
Jay, I never learned to spell your name, to write the Hindi and Latin letters. It seems an appalling omission now. 3 years of friendship, a fourth of obsession, and I never learned to spell your name. Then again, I was younger then. I couldn't spell cinnamon. While you were learning to write formal essays, I couldn't spell the words to make you look at me again, draw for me again, write for me again, play Foursquare with me again. 2 years seems like such a small difference now. We were younger then. You were the first girl I fell in love with. It seems silly now. Chinese checkers in the after-school program, I wonder now if it's wrong to call it that. And my mother was late to pick me up. I don't remember what I saw in you then. Maybe it was just that you were nice. You played with me. Most people wouldn't. I was so often too shy to speak. You, the only dark-skinned student in your grade. You, one of 5 non-white kids in the 600, a fraction, 1 over 112. Less than 1 percentage point. You must have known what it was to be an outsider. I never knew how to have a friend before you. You taught me holding hands, sharing favorite books or websites or foods, playdates not arranged by parents. 2 outsiders don't make 1 friendship. 2 unmatched halves don't make 1 whole. I didn't know it was different about me then. I'm only beginning to understand now. You couldn't not know it was different about you. You were the first girl I fell in love with, trapped in this girl's body, this wrong body. I didn't realize it for years, but I fell in love with you. You, whose mother put a bindi on my head. You, whose kitchen I ate meatloaf in for the first time. I fell in love with you in your dark living room, watching you as you watched Teen Titans. You gave me a nickname. You chose my first name after my birth name, my much despised birth name now traded in. Those first nicknames of names, I was Chandni in Hindi moon, you were Tara in Hindi star. I begged you to draw pictures for me. I begged you to write stories for me. I begged you to play tag with me. Later, I begged you not to leave me. My first breakup, 4th grade. You were never cruel, but again and again, you weren't there when I looked for you in the halls. Did you ever read those desperate cursive letters, the ones I left folded for you on the counter of the after-school daycare program? I hope you didn't. My desperation seems embarrassing in retrospect, your eagerness to grow up all too understandable. I think that maybe if we were older, these things could have been handled, but what others would have risen in their place? Lesbo, psycho, bulldyke, creepy. Those were the next names others gave me. I don't know what they called you, if they ever called you names. You never told me. I don't know if you called me those yourself, when you grew up, when you moved on, when you made friends who weren't desperate, alone, queer, younger, scared, crazy. I want to think you never called me names. It might be too much to ask. I don't think I'd blame you if you did. If I knew how to spell your name, maybe I could send you a letter. Not this one, but a letter. J, the one letter I am sure of. 1 J isn't enough to find someone. Would you want to be found if I could? This poem is the last letter that I will ever write to you.
This is called Children's Crusade. I'm going to the march.
You can't go to the march.
If I don't go, who else will?
Someone else will. Certainly not children.
Who
will stand up for our rights?
There is no other way.
There must be another way.
Oh, Reverend Bevel, what a novel idea. Us children can fight.
Sending children to fight? Don't you know what will happen?
We'll do what we must. Oh, Lord, protect us all.
Oh, Lord, protect them all.
I'm going to the march.
You can't go to the march.
And Sister's coming too.
She wants to
She
do
wants
this?
to do this.
Both of my babies in the march tomorrow?
The march starts tomorrow. We have to go.
You don't have to go.
MLK has been jailed. We can set him free.
You'll be joining him first. And what will I do?
Oh, Lord, protect us all.
Oh, Lord, protect them all.
One shade too many to all the girls who ever judged me. Brown, brown, brown. Why are they always trying to pull me down, down, down? Spanish girls thought because we all had brown eyes that we shared Latina pride. My father left when I was almost 2. Maybe he went back to Mexico, nobody knew. They thought I was trying to act tough and bold because I was Mexican like them. They thought because we all had brown hair that looked black when the light hit just right, that the root of our hair was longer than the square root of any number created out of thin air, that we were sisters, homies, tighter than the braids gripping their scalps, immigrant children, bilingual beauties. They thought because we all had brown skin, they said calling that is almost a sin. We aren't brown, girl, we're tan. We're the caramel light mocha that melts in your mouth, the sun-kissed cheek is all the boys dream about, a tan that never fades. We don't need the sun to make our complexion and perfection. Brown, brown, brown. Why are they always trying to pull me down, down, down? White girls thought because we all had brown eyes that I grew up in the same suburban neighborhood. They thought I was Italian and that it was ironic I hated pasta. I thought their attitude smelled like sour garlic bread. My mom had speckled freckles around her light green eyes. They assumed all my brown, brown genes came from my dad's side. They thought because we all had brown hair, wavy when it rains, that the same blood ran through our veins, that the root of our bond could be explored like that math problem in 3rd grade we could never figure out but found the answer to by cheating. They thought because we all had brown skin, tan, not brown, I was cool enough to have around. Tanning bent skin that wasn't just a trend, it was a marker, a true sign of fitting in. To all the girls who ever judged me, I'm Mexican, I'm white, I'm brown, I'm pale, I'm yellow, I'm sick of being down. I'm all the shade you ever painted me as. If the world was painted using a box of crowns, we'd run out of all the brown, brown, browns.